I'm just testing the mic right now. Alex, can you go on X to the UltraLP X account to see if there's an echo? Because I have audio enabled on Discord and X. Is there latency? Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Oh, interesting. Cool. Okay. Let me get you guys in to that as well. Okay, I'm going to invite Vitalizing to speak. And hey, good to see you, man. How's it going? Okay. Alex, I'm going to move you to audience for now, and then I'll bring you back up once we're doing the Dev AMA. Can you hear me? Good, good. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to, I think we're going to wait for a few minutes to let a couple more people come in. We're live on X right now as well. Um, I have the feed up for questions that are coming up from X. I sent over the restream link to you guys, Asian at Vitalizing. Okay, so we can't hear you Vitalizing on X, so I think you need to join the restream so we can hear you as well. Okay. Let me try to make sure you can talk.
All right, I think it should be picking me up now.
Okay, sounds good.
Nice.
Is there an echo for anybody? How about now? There's an echo. Vitalizing, why don't you, can you try saying something so we can just test that real quick? Alex, can you hear? Oh, okay. So I have to turn off both audio capture on Restream and Discord. But then there's a little bit of an echo, right? I see. Okay, I think what I'll do is I will, give me 1 second, mute myself on X. Yeah, I do have echo cancellation on. How about that? Does that work better? Much better. Okay, let's get started with this then. Wait, I gotta turn on Vitalizing, can you say something? I can check.
All right, are we good to go?
1 second. I think so.
Testing.
And now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think what I'll do is I'll mute myself when somebody else is talking, like DontRunIamAsian and Vitalizing is talking. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us to our first online DLMM LP workshop. My name is Rich King, and I'm one of the team members behind UltraLP. We're a DLMM co-pilot on Meteora, and we're a team of 5. Our mission is to help people learn and earn on DeFi, while also understanding the benefits of the risks. We develop tools to make understanding your profitability easier. As most of you may already be aware, Meteora is a liquidity provisioning platform on Solana. But not many people know that about $1 trillion a year of trading happens because of you guys, people who provide LP.
If all of us decided to quit LPing tomorrow, DeFi would pretty much grind to a halt. So it's a very important fundamental pillar of decentralized finance, of crypto in general. And for the last 6 months, our team has been working on UltraLP, which is an analytics dashboard that helps people see their profits and losses in real time. Ideally, you see profits only. We are pretty familiar with the Meteor team now, and we host live DLMM workshops in major cities around the world to better understand how we can communicate this mission. So to realize our vision, we're planning to make UltraLP a bigger thing as it is now, mostly developing features to use AI to help you feel like your money is working more powerfully for you. There's not much I can say about this time for the future, but Alex and the team, or Skemba in the chat, are cooking up something special. We're also expanding our community. It's called UltraSparks. We brought in DontRunIamAsian, which I'll just call him Drea from here on out. It's a little bit shorter, as our first Sparkmod to help grow our community. We're a group of people that are trying to cultivate the global growth of DeFi. That's also new, people-friendly. We like to say that there's a spark of a moment when you understand something for the first time, and we'd like to experience this as a group over and over. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Drea and also our first speaker, Vitalizing. DontRunIamAsian, can you do a quick intro about yourself, how you got into this space, and what you're excited about? And then we'll let Vitalizing take over.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Hey everyone, I'm Don. Been in crypto for a while. Last few years, I've been just playing around Solana pretty much after like the Ethereum NFT run ended. Mainly doing LPing with Meteor right now, and that's actually how I found out about UltraLP. And it's like a really useful tool that does pretty much everything that I needed when I first started Meteor. So yeah, that's about it.
Nice, thanks. Vitalizing, can you do a quick intro on yourself as well?
Yeah, GM guys. I guess I'm kind of, I've been working in crypto for a while, kind of on the infrastructure side, like, running validators, RPC nodes, that kind of thing. I never really got into DeFi until like early last year, so like 2024. On Solana, yeah, I actually started off like trading meme coins, and like you're doing trading and you see and hear about like liquidity and AMMs and DEXs, and kind of did some research onto what that's all about and how how like DeFi trading actually works, and yeah, decided to start playing around with liquidity providing. Took me a while to kind of figure out how it works for me. So the way I kind of see it now is it's kind of similar to trading a meme coin, but a little easier to manage your risk. Took me a couple months to like develop like a strategy that works for me, and yeah, it's kind of been going strong for a few months now.
Sweet. Thanks for the intro. I initially was talking to Drea about who we should bring on for our first speaker for these types of workshops. I think a lot of people are really inspired by and feel connected to the idea that they can turn 1 Solana into 100 Solana. It's a lot of how people start. Not all of us can put in a ton of money into doing DeFi related activities. As we know, it's something very risky. So it's always easier to start from a small place and kind of earn as you go and basically play with only house money. And that's something that attracts a lot of people. And you can see on Twitter that a lot of people have tried to do the 1 to 100 Solana type of experiment or challenge. And I think it really gets people to start small, understand their risks, and play with money they're willing to lose and kind of develop the good habits on how they can play with DeFi. The meta that we're currently playing with is obviously meme coins, as it's very much like a volatile type of industry. So there's a lot to lose as well as a lot to learn. So I think the purpose of today's session, to bring on Vitalizing, he has a background in software engineering. He's worked in DeFi for a long time. And also he's part of many other communities. What's important to kind of understand is, like, from his perspective, how we can go from something very small and slowly snowball it over time to something bigger, instead of just, say, for example, going crazy degen and putting going all in on a single trade and losing everything and leaving. Think this is a bit more of a healthier approach as to how you should learn how to use these different types of tools. So that's also a reason why I want to bring him in to talk about his experiences, his triumphs, his challenges, and give also people a way to kind of ask questions and have an open dialogue with us, so that we can kind of grow as a community. And so if you are on X right now, you won't be able to ask questions with audio unless you join the Discord. So just go pop over to our bio and on X to join the Discord, and then pop into the stage. You can ask questions using audio, or I can see your questions and comments, and I can voice that in the chat on Discord if you type it into the X. So yeah, by all means, Vitalizing, take it away. You have 5 to 10 minutes-ish to kind of talk about anything you want regarding LPing and DLMMing in general. And then we'll go into some questions that Drea and I have prepared for you.
Cool, sounds good. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I kind of started off trading meme coins, the kind of like the blue chips, like Fog, Popcat, and those things, and ended up like getting some gains, taking a few losses, round tripping some like huge gains, and yeah, I also spent some time in the trenches, right? Kind of like trading like pump fund coins pre on the bonding curve, pre bond, and yeah, stuff's like is fun, but it's kind of it's really like difficult to find some method in the madness sometimes. So when I discovered LP, it kind of gave me some of that stability, like around this stuff, where I can kind of develop a strategy and find something that works for me and find something that's repeatable. So like the reason I say it's like trading meme coins but less risky is you can make money LPing meme coin when your like exit, your take profit is actually at a lower price than your entry. Most of my positions are actually like this. So the way I like to do it is a lot of like one side positions on Meteora. So I'll only deposit Solana and I'll wait for like the price to drop. I think a lot of people now are kind of playing it this way. Like the flip side to that is you buy some of the meme coin and you deposit into your position like 50-50 distribution. So you deposit half of your value in Solana and half in the meme coin. The problem with that is if the price never goes up and it just goes down from when you start, that 50% of the meme coin that you bought has just given you a loss. You might have earned some fees on the way down, but it most likely wouldn't be enough to cover the loss you took on the first amount that you bought. Conversely, it might go up first, but if you never exit in profit and it comes back down, you're also at a loss again. So I found that I kind of started off doing it that way, like for the first month or so, and it was like really similar to trading. It was like I'll have some wins and I'll have some losses. Overall, it wasn't like repeatable for me. Like I didn't have a strategy that would give me a high win rate, like a 70-80% win rate or something, which is what I was looking for. So yeah, so then I started doing a lot of like one side sold positions. I think the really innovative thing about Meteora compared to other LP platforms like Radium, Orca, is the like the complex liquidity distributions that you can create. So you know how you go on Meteora and you can create like a curve position or a bid-ask position or a combination of both. Gives you a lot of flexibility in how you kind of distribute your deposit, and helps you manage your risk. So I did a lot of like one side sol bid ask positions, you know, kind of let price drop into my range, let it spend time down there, and then you know once I've earned like a decent amount of fees on that, then I'll start you know kind of looking for an exit. It's kind of important to know like how to read like a candlestick chart as well. Um, you definitely by no means need to be like an expert at technical analysis or anything in order to do this, but it can be useful. Like you know, just spend some time looking at charts, learning a few different concepts, and yeah, figure out what works for you there. But so that's kind of how I do things. I kind of let price drop into the range, spend some time down there, earn some fees, and then look for an exit. And I'll, you know, hopefully like price comes all the way back out. But you know, oftentimes you can take an exit that's kind of within your range still, and you'll still be in profit, even though the price is kind of lower than when you entered. So I do a lot of that, and I think you can be consistent in that. You can manage your risk properly. Like if you you know, if you're in a meme coin and you're kind of like tracking sentiment and you know what the project is about, what the team's doing, that kind of thing, and you find that you know you're less bullish, you can kind of pull out at break even or a small loss. I think that's quite important as well with these meme coins. Is they, you know, something could happen that you know causes people to like sell off like insanely and instantly. Um, so yeah, you got to watch out for that. But yeah, so that's kind of how I approach things. And then yeah, with the one sol challenge, I you know it took a long time. It took like I think a little over 3 months. So which you know the first like month or two it was pretty slow growth, right? But the thing is that it's exponential growth, right? You increase your size as you build your capital. Um, and obviously, the more wins you get, the more money you have to play with for the next positions, and the consistency over time. You'll see that you know your win rate, if it's consistent, the amount of money you make in the first and second month compared to the third month, it's like completely you know unrecognizable, right? Because of that exponential growth. So it took like 3 months, and yeah, most of it was just kind of this consistent positions. I got some, you know, we had some good volatility with like the Trump and Melania coin launches. I managed to get in those and earn off of those. You know, luckily avoided like the Libra rug pull. So and yeah, I decided to hit 100 sol and kind of cash out. But I'm still working on it on my main wallet. You know, where I think community is a big thing. I like to, you know, be in communities where people help each other win. You know, we share alpha. We share which positions we're in, the coins that we're bullish on. I think that's super important. Um, yeah, that's kind of like an overview of you know how I've been approaching this for the last few months. I'm happy to kind of answer more specific questions that people have. It started off really slowly, like because a lot of my positions are like 5 or 10% profit, which on one sold is not a lot. So the growth to start with is quite slow, and I didn't really go into it expecting it to take that long to be like that slow. So at the start, I was kind of getting a little bit disheartened, like you know, after a couple weeks, I think I actually doubled it to 2 Sol. What I really need to do is kind of go back through my the wallet history and really track the growth, because that would be interesting. But I remember it being kind of slow to start with, and there were some losses. Yeah, like I think it's good to kind of have some psychological strength when you're doing this as well. You know, expect the losses because you are in the meme coin space. They're gonna come. And just you know, find the strategy that works for you, and try and be consistent, try and develop your strategy, and that's kind of how I did it. I stayed consistent and true to my strategy, and over time, you know, the take profits kind of add up, and you find, you know, you're able to capitalize on opportunities like the Trump meme coin launch. Yeah, just being in the space and in and around the space, kind of, you'll get these opportunities.
Thanks. It sounds like you were only doing 5% of what you had in your wallet, even in the early days when you had like 1 or 2 Sol when you're going up. Was that consistently 5%? And when you grew, did you change that at all? Yes or no? And why?
That's a good question. So I actually started off like full porting stuff, and the 5% is kind of like the take profit. When I say full porting, it's a little bit misleading, because I'm putting all of my capital into a position, but it's a really risk averse position. Right? It's like I'm only depositing Sol, and I'm doing it with a bid-ask distribution. So you know, only as the price comes down, I'm actually accumulating more of the meme coin. So I'm buying it at lower prices. And yeah, so that's kind of the approach I took. I think that's, you know, if you have a risk averse strategy, that's good to do. If your strategy is more risky, where you're you know, I think one, you know, strategy that can be good, which I don't like to do, but I know lots of people do, is they'll you know, buy the token when it's like really volatile and there's high volume. And then they'll open a two-side position, and then, you know, capitalize on the fees while they're good, and then they'll kind of exit. You know, more like short-term style. That's more risky. Like I wouldn't like, you know, full port if I was doing something like that. But I think one thing to note, as your portfolio grows and you're playing with more capital, you have to be mindful of like price impact when you're trading meme coins. So like if you were to sell like 5K worth of a meme coin, and, you know, the market cap is like 500K, that means you're holding like 1% of that meme coin, and you're gonna you know, you're gonna like destroy the chart. First of all, when you do that, you'll create like a massive red candle, but you'll also like you'll experience a lot of price impact. So, you know, whatever the current price is, because your sell is reducing the price so much, your execution is not that good. So that's one thing to be mindful of. And maybe like if you're LPing like these really small market cap meme coins, like, you know, less than 1 mil or like 1 to 2 mil or something, and you're using a lot of capital, it's once you're like in a position where you're holding like 1 or 2% of a meme coin, it's kind of hard to exit that position with a good execution, especially if it's on a downtrend and you're like, shit, I need to sell right now. It puts you in a bad spot. So I think that's one thing to be mindful of, is like manage your capital at that point. You know, maybe don't put so much into these small cap plays. So that's one thing I do, is like I'll scale the amount of capital I use based on like the market cap of the coin.
That makes sense. So to revisit that and reiterate, you should scale the capital that you're investing into a token based on its market cap. If there is a sense of over investing, if you're putting too much liquidity into like a 1 million market cap, which is a smaller market cap token, which will be fairly risky and hard to get out of, while bigger market cap, like Farcoin, for example, then you can then scale up a little bit faster. And so it sounds like in the strategy of the early days, it's okay to you did some more full porting, which is basically taking the entire wallets, the contents of the entire wallet, and LPing on a few positions in the beginning. Did that strategy change as you started growing the portfolio? And how did you find yourself changing your strategy or how you thought about things, say around the 20, 30, or 40 SOL mark?
Yeah, it did change. So I started to focus on my capital across more coins. So when I started, I'd put like the full 1 or 2 SOL into one coin, and kind of focused on that coin, and not really look or touch anything else for the time being. Having more capital means you can spread it out a bit more. If there's multiple coins that you're interested in, you can open positions across a bunch of them, which kind of makes you can do it with a smaller capital, but I think it makes more sense when you have more to play with. And yeah, like I said, kind of lets you spread your money out, and yeah, that's kind of how things changed. The other thing is having like capital on standby can sometimes help you manage a position as well. So let's say like you set up a position and you wanted to accumulate the meme coin, and you open like a minus 50% bid ask, which means you're gonna buy, your position's covering a dump of 50% in price, and you're buying more as the price drops. Like that could happen, and let's say like it keeps going down, like it goes down to like minus 60 or 70%. Having some capital on standby can potentially help you manage the position you find yourself in. Like let's say you're still bullish on the token, like you're still pretty confident it's going to recover. You can use that standby capital to just buy more of it, either spot or like open another position at the lower price or rebalance. You know, given that you're fairly confident in a reversal, it can help, right? Like it can help you kind of get out break even, because you can potentially exit on a smaller bounce. It can also kind of like you can also like dig your hole deeper if you're doing that. But it's a common concept in trading, right? Like you'll DCA into a position, and if the price goes down, you're like, cool, I'm just going to buy more of it at a cheaper price. So there's I guess an element of that as well. If you've got more capital and you kind of have someone stand by for situations like that.
For me, every time when the price is dropped below my range and it seems like it's on a down trend, it's hard to hold, basically. How does one have the idea that there could be, a return where it will come back up? Like, how do you create conviction around that? Are there any signals that people should be looking out for, or is it just like a sunk cost and we should get out while we can?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of, it can be hard to hold. It kind of depends on like what exactly it is that you're trading. Like, is it a pure meme coin, or is it like we had like these AI coins come out for a few months, which were kind of these utility coins for AI projects. I guess like in terms of building conviction for a reversal, I think you should recognize that a lot of these coins, they have like huge retracements in their chart on, even though they're kind of trending up overall. Like any kind of like mid cap or large cap meme coin, if you go and look at the chart and look at its history, you'll probably find like a minus 70% drop at some point. So it's quite common. It happens a lot, and even like the small cap coins, like the pump fund coins that have just bonded, and most of them will only last like a day or two. But within that day or two, they'll do like a 70% retrace, and then maybe they'll bounce like 30 or 40% off of that initial retrace. So I think it's quite common. Like you can definitely like build a strategy around this, which is sometimes how I like to do it. Is kind of LP it on the way down, expect there to be a bounce, and then just exit on that first bounce. In terms of building conviction, I like to look at the volume. So if the volume is like, you can try to, if you do a bit of TA, you can try to identify like levels that you think should have some buying and some support. And if you see price approach these levels and you don't see like an increase in volume, that's kind of a bad sign, because it means that probably likely the price is just going to keep trending in the direction it's trending in. So volume is one thing, and then kind of do some research on the project and the meme coin, and if there's a team behind it, are they active? If there's a community around it, are they active? Are they bullish? Are they posting? If things are quiet and the price is going down, it's like you're not expecting much to happen then. So I would think about those two things mainly. It's also like some coins have like some kind of like idea behind why you expect the price to go up. So like there was this like Grok AI meme coin recently that's hit like 50 mil, and I think it's like an X account, and it's like a meme on like the Grok persona, I guess. But like it's had like this massive pump a couple of days ago, and it's because Elon like interacted with it. And so you can kind of like hold it and expect, okay, if he's done it once, maybe he's going to do it again, and you can expect the price to like skyrocket again. That's kind of different to these other coins, because you're like expecting some kind of event to happen that's going to cause the coin to pump, which might be different to other coins where that's not really the case. So it's important to, I guess what I'm saying is it's important to know exactly what you're trading and what are the kind of the drivers of price action.
To sum that up, when a token, a lot of new people that are doing LPing or DLMMing start to panic when the prices start dropping under their range, right? On UltraLP, the numbers start going red really fast. And that's when you start to be unsure. You're starting to frantically look for signals, whether to close or hold. What Vitalizing has mentioned, I guess this comes with a little bit more experience while LPing as well. You need some more time in the market, and that's how has always been said by many people who are traders as irreplaceable experience and knowledge, is that look for signs of volume. If volumes is continuing fairly strong, a negative price should be short term. And there's generally a retracement or a reversal where the price bounces back up into your range. If it's a meme coin, generally it will last for between 1 to 2 days, and these retracements or reversals are fairly common, even if they go down negative 70%. And you can draw like using a ruler on the chart to figure out when that happens. And otherwise, maybe just in major event, if you expect that particular meme or token to have some sort of major news that's coming out, or narratively have a lot of engagement from its community, people on X that are talking about this, or in this recent example where there was a Grok type of AI token in which Elon Musk had interacted with, then there will definitely be a reversal of attention and interest. And that's when you're able to catch that up. He also mentioned a second ago having reserve capital, which is you're not full. If you're maybe in the midway point around 2030 Solana, you can have a reserve of Solana, of extra money on the side, where you can buy in at a lower price if you have a conviction, or create a one-sided bid ask so that you can ride that LPing fees on the way up as well. And that's helpful in certain cases. Was that a good summary?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to move on from this category. If I talk to a lot of people that are stuck in kind of the early stages of the 1 to 100 SOL, they aren't able to scale past, say, at 50. They go to 20, 30, bounce back to 20, bounce down to 10. It's almost like you're at the casino and you can't get out of this like port hell or 7-figure hell or 6-figure hell. Why do you think that is? And what are some of the, I guess, tips that you would have for people who are maybe stuck in that earlier range that can't seem to break out?
First of all, I think it's purely psychological. Like, there's no reason if your strategy's worked up to this point, it would stop working. I mean, sometimes you might need to adjust, but you know, if the fundamentals are there for your strategy, it should continue to work. I have like an idea of you know what might happen to some people. Like, I've experienced this myself. Like, what I'll find is that say I have some like really good, like really profitable days, and you know, it's happened to me recently, like literally like last week we had some good good coin launches, a lot of activity, a lot of volume, you know, made a lot of money, and then this week I kind of round tripped a lot of those gains into losses, and kind of like deleted all the profit I made. And the reason it happened is because I kind of went into this week expecting the same to happen. And so I like sized up my risk on a lot of plays. I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I made all this profit. Let's put it to good use and then put more in this time. And it didn't work. So that for me, I guess it was psychological. Like, you know, you can't expect the market to always be good, and like my whole strategy is kind of expecting it, you know, the price to come down and not necessarily go all the way back up. Like, that's how I make my money. And I guess I stopped doing that because I thought, okay, things are looking good, the markets are good, prices should go up only, and then it didn't happen. So I guess the, you know, changing your strategy is maybe one reason. Like, you know, maybe you make this money, you get a little bit overconfident, or you just expect the wins to just keep coming by default. That could be one thing. It's definitely something I've suffered from.
We see on X people posting these remarkably good P&Ls and you know, people winning really big, and that really inspires people to try and size up, sometimes a bit earlier than they should, and then they end up with more frequent losses. So really appreciate you giving more transparency to, you know, what goes on behind the mind of a trader that's kind of had wins, had losses, and just being transparent and telling people, hey, this is the way it is. I've made mistakes as well. And so to sum that part up, it sounds like, it seems like just psychologically, your strategy tends to drift. And not you in general, but people in general. As they have successive wins, the psychology changes, the strategy also slightly changes. Maybe sticking to something and being a bit more logical or scientific with the process is going to help you with more concurrent gains. So with what Vitalizing said at the beginning, which was his strategy is around taking profit around 5% P&L. So as soon as you see the green number hit 5%, say for example, you were out of that particular coin, unless you had some sort of alternative alpha or special conviction in that particular thing, you are out of that token, and then you're going about your day and doing your observations or due diligence in other areas. So it sounds like, you know, being very self-aware of what you are doing, being deliberate in what you're doing, and seeing yourself from a third person lens and saying, hey, what is my psychology changing? Is my strategy drifting? Is a good way to prevent being stuck in that kind of early, maybe 20, 30 soul hell if you are in that area. So let's move on to kind of moving forward to more success. So once we get to a larger and larger portfolio, you know, we're getting to the 100 soul, 200 soul, 300 soul. What would you say in terms of advice you have for people? What should they do? How do they continue scaling the portfolio? And you know, wrapping that side up as well. And yeah, that kind of thing.
I think for the most part, you can carry on doing what you're doing and just be mindful of the fact that you have more capital will lead to some new things happening. One being like the price impact issue I mentioned earlier. And another thing is like as you put in more capital, the magnitude of the losses will increase. Like you'll start losing, if you take a loss, maybe you'll lose like 1 or 2 sol compared to, 0.1 or 0.2 sol. And that's literally just because, you should be thinking in terms of percentages rather than absolute numbers. So that's one thing to keep in mind is, some people might see a 1 or 2 sol loss and be like, oh shit. But, earlier when it was a 0.1 or 0.2 sol loss, when your port was 10x smaller, that, you might have been okay with it. So maybe that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is like take profit, like pay yourself. I do this regularly. So like every position I close in profit, I like sell 50%. So, if I TP in Solana, I'll sell 50% of it for USDC and, put that in another wallet or in like a lending protocol or something that's earning yield, just to kind of grow like my stable coin portfolio over time. Because the reason I'm doing this like is to help me and my family, and it's like real like financial benefit for us. So I want to make sure I'm putting money aside, money that's no longer at risk, that's going to be there for me and my family.
That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. So to sum that up, it's often wise to, once you're getting on size, you're risking your portfolio. You start to think about things in percentages, because the more you're risking, the more your losses or upside could be. Taking profits in the way of actually converting your Solana into USDC and then putting that in a different wallet where you can't see it or access it or try to gamble with it would be helpful, while still having your reserve capital and of course your active positions that you're playing with. And as you size up, what Vitalizing has said in the previously was that you start to kind of open up multiple positions and manage a few more. And of course, taking profits, putting them into, say, for example, secure lending protocols is a good way to kind of build up the savings and have overall a better impact on your life, because you're actually making money on the side now. So that's really, really helpful. I think the last question from my side is, how much time does this really take out of your day? Because, if you're managing a bigger and bigger portfolio, you've got, the saving side, you've got your active LPing side, and, you got multiple strategies that are going on, and you're trying to figure out what's happening in the market while also having a real life. How much time goes into LPing, farming, and these kinds of things, and how do you balance those types of things to either stay sane, stay healthy, or stay productive?
Yeah, it's a good question. It can definitely be tough at times because it takes a lot of effort, a lot of concentration. It can affect you psychologically if you're like, maybe took a loss that day or something, or you have some positions open that are a little bit in the red right now, and you're trying to go about your day, but it's kind of in the back of your mind. It is something that you're gonna have to dedicate time to. I think a lot of people approach it and think it's it's like this passive money making thing, which it can be if you're LPing like maybe larger market cap coins, or you're doing like Sol USDC or like Fartcoin or these coins. It can be like that, but if you're like in the trenches and you're doing like degen meme coins, it's takes a lot of attention and concentration. It's not really passive at that point. So yeah, it can you're gonna get out from it what you put in. If you're really successful and you're making money, the more like time and effort you put into it, the more, like anything, the more reward you'll get. For me, it's like, like I've got a wife and kid, I've got a full-time job, so like it takes some sacrifice, right? Like I've not played I used to be a big gamer. I've not played video games for like 2 years now because I've kind of decided to give that up and then really focus on other stuff. So I think, if you're good at it, if you like doing it, you want to make it a priority in your life. Like anything, maybe other things need to give way for that. That's kind of how it's happened for me. But uh, yeah, you can definitely like change how you approach it as well. Like, don't do less DGen stuff if you don't want to spend all day looking at the screen.
Appreciate that. So to sum that up is you have to quit League of Legends finally if you actually want to make money. For those of you out there that are still not in rehab. Thank you for answering all these questions, Vitalizing. Drea, do you have any comments or questions for him, or some of your own insights? I know I've been talking the most.
I think it's here to stay. I think like the meta might change. Like maybe something comes out that's and it turns out, or maybe Meteor is no longer the best place to do this, and there's other products. But I think, and the market will kind of go up and down. But I think meme coins have kind of established themselves as something that's kind of here to stay, and I think the opportunity is always going to be there. But just kind of expect like your returns to kind of vary with like the market, the amount of participation, the attention, and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm just going to repeat the question a bit. I think your audio is not heading to X, but yeah. So this question was so about risk management. So you said that I've kind of learned how to make money, but I've also learned how to manage money. And yeah, it's a good question. Like, kind of like ask yourself, what are you doing this for? Like, are you trying to make money to like really have an impact on your life? And if that's the case, like unrealized profit is not money in your bank account, right? So, get used to paying yourself, get used to putting money aside once you've made it. And yeah, just kind of like grow your realized profits over time. And what was the second part to your question? Sorry, could you repeat that?
No worries. Sorry about that. About my audio.
Oh yeah. So it kind of depends. So like, if you're starting off, it's always better to like start learning with smaller amounts that you're willing to lose. Um, Once you have a strategy, you can, you gain confidence in it. It's working for you. You can start like sizing up, right? I think you also asked like, was it easier to go from 1 to 10 or from 10 to 100? I think the difficulty there isn't really, it's not really a question of difficulty. Or at least for me, it's not, because like your strategy shouldn't really change based on the amount. But I think it's faster to get from 10 to 100 than it is to get from 1 to 10. just because you can, having more capital can kind of unlock more things for you, like I've kind of mentioned earlier on. You can deposit into multiple coins at once. Whereas before you might want to focus on like one coin at a time or something, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So for those of you guys that are in the live X, you might not be able to hear Dria's questions, so I typed those on X. Now, thank you, Vitalizing, for your questions. I'm going to try and open it up to our audience here on Discord. And if you're on X, you want to ask a question, just shoot it in the live chat or join our Discord, which the link is in the bio. Please do not click on anything else. And you're welcome to come into our stage and we'll give you the microphone. So yeah, I'll open it up. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and then Drea will give you microphone access. But that's been very, very helpful, Vitalizing, for you to share all the wins and losses here. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys coming and listening. We have about 100 people live on X right now checking this out. So I think people are excited to try and get to 100 Sol. I guess one other thing was like, once you do get to 100 Sol, do you start over? Do you go back to 1, or like what's happens next?
Yeah, so I kind of so that was kind of like a fun challenge I did. I was like, let me start with 1 Sol and see what I can do. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it to kind of grow the way it did. But yeah, I kind of got to 100 and kind of like folded that wallet, put some back into my main account that I LP with, and cash some out, put some aside. So yeah, I think I don't really have like a strategy to like exiting my profits. I kind of go by feel, but like, if the market's up, like if we see like Sol over $200 again, I'm definitely going to sell a big chunk of it. Just because, like real life utility is in USDC, right? It's not necessarily in Solana, but yeah, maybe I can drop a couple more gems as well while we're waiting for questions. So like I don't know where you guys are like charting your meme coins, but you're using like Deck Screener or something like that. I think right now, like I'm doing it on Axiom.trade, which is like this trading platform. You don't necessarily need to trade on there, but once you sign up, you can just have access to their charts, and they like update really frequently, and it's like a really good smooth charting experience. Also, yeah, like definitely like look into UltraLP, because I think one of the questions you asked was about like time management. How much time does it take out? Having a tool like UltraLP where I can just go and like at a glance like see the state of all my positions definitely is a big time save, and a big like takes a lot of psychological weight off. Like I can just look at it if I'm doing work for my day job or whatever, take a quick look at UltraLP, see how things are going, get back to work.
Nice. I think Emilio, did you have your hand up for a question? Can we give him invite Emilio to talk? Okay. Okay. He says that his question was already answered. Oh, okay. No problem. Let's see if there's any questions on X right now. So for this type of workshop, guys, I'm thinking like what I've looked into a lot of chat rooms of DLMMing, LPing, and the pattern has been in a lot of them is that you have maybe one or two more experienced folks that are kind of sending alpha out or giving suggestions or posting P&L cards. And that's all really great. What it's kind of missing is understanding, I guess, more of like a bigger view, bigger picture of things, and being able to have kind of a real-time question answer type of thing. And people that are a bit newer to LPing often struggle with kind of getting across this hurdle or coming out there and just being part of the community. So, thanks to Vitalizing for sharing his perspective and insights on LPing. In the future, I'd really like to get some more feedback on what you guys think about these sessions. So please join our Discord, and if you have access to UltraLP, just shoot our messages. Feel free to DM me directly on X at Richard King XYZ. I'd love to take your suggestions and hear what you guys think. What kind of method of communication is the best for you guys? Really want to kind of get more people along with us on the boat when it comes to LPing more profitably, avoiding more losses. And this is something that I think the Jupiter and Meteor team has done really well, which is basically to bring about more of a player helping other players type of mentality in the trenches, which is something that's very hard to find these days, these communities. That's like one thing. And the second thing is that, most of you guys must have taken the LP Army Bootcamp, and those are great. It's a one and done type of thing where you have basically 2 days to do a quick, 0 to 1 moment, but it doesn't really take care of things from there on out. Like you get from 0 to 1, but well, what about 1 to 100? And that's where we're here to kind of address and help you through. In the future, I'd like to host a few more. Hopefully Vitalizing can come back and do a couple more sharing sessions with us. But I'm very much open to people offering the suggestions as to how we can structure these better so they can help you more often. And our team, of course, Drea, also Skemba, and Alexander are here to answer your questions. We've been away for the last week or so, but now we're kind of back in action. We're here to answer questions, fix any kind of issues that you might have, and also help people in general on their journey. Okay, so I don't see that many questions coming up right now. I think that was very, very helpful and insightful, Vitalizing. I really appreciate your time and everyone else that's on X. Me and Skemba are going to be sticking around for another 10-15 minutes if you guys have any questions for the devs on UltraLP, but I will let Vitalizing and Drea go. I really thank you guys for coming to our first workshop. We will have another one around this time next Sunday.
Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. You guys can follow Vitalizing at _Vitalizing on Twitter, and I've already posted all his links there to check him out. Thank you, guys.